Even before Kamala Harris was the Democratic nominee, Donald Trump's choice of J.D. Vance was, in my mind, a signal that he was not only confident he was going to win, he was cocky. He picked someone in J.D. Vance who offered nothing beyond what Donald Trump already offers. He didn't come from a swing state, he's not a moderate, he wasn't a different gender or race or religion, he is just a carbon copy of Donald Trump espousing the exact same brand of Trumpism. It was a strategy of doubling down on the base and not even bothering to try and expand the coalition because the Trump team was just that sure they could beat Joe Biden. Only, small problem, they're not running against Joe Biden, they're now running against Kamala Harris, who's not only better positioned according to polling to win in states that seem to be out of reach for Biden, and she's not only better positioned to win back younger and non-white voters, who Biden was especially weak with this time around, but she's also has the opportunity now to elect a VP candidate who can confer major electoral advantages. There's Josh Shapiro, for example, the popular governor of the must-win state of Pennsylvania. There's Gretchen Whitmer, the popular governor of another must-win state of Michigan. There's Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom, two of the Democratic Party's most effective communicators, both of whom are capable of winning over even Fox News audiences. There's Andy Beshear, who's even managed to win as a Democrat in Kentucky without compromising his values. There's Mark Kelly, a fucking astronaut. How do you defeat an astronaut? You don't. All of which is to say, the miscalculation that Trump made by beating his chest, picking someone like J.D. Vance, may very well have cost him the election. I mean, don't take it from me. This is J.D. Vance in one of his first appearances on the stump.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday, and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys. But
yeah, apparently what the Republican Party was looking for was the reincarnation of Jeb Bush. I never thought I'd say this, but maybe leave the low-rent conservative comedy to Greg Gutfeld. By the way, you just know that Donald Trump is fuming watching that clip of J.D. Vance go viral. Trump doesn't care about policy or principles, he cares solely about optics. You've heard him say more times than you can count that so-or-so looks like they're plucked right out of central casting. Donald Trump loves, more than anything, when people look and act the part. And yet now, he's got J.D. Vance with the stage presence of a manila envelope delivering comedy so bad that it makes Mike Huckabee seem funny. And this is the America First protege? Yikes. In fact, the extent to which J.D. and Trump are growing more and more afraid of Kamala was put on full display here, with Vance offering this tepid attack on her.
our likely opponent, Kamala Harris, because, she said a couple of days ago that I showed no loyalty to the United States, that I have no loyalty to the United States. Well, I don't know Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect a government check for the past 20 years?
First of all, the government check that he complains about, yeah, she worked in the government. She's been the VP for the last 4 years, a US Senator before that, and the Attorney General of California before that. In fact, she was so effective at her government job that J.D. Vance is complaining about that Donald Trump himself literally donated to her campaign. J.D. Vance's own running mate literally wanted her to keep getting that government check. And J.D. is also vying for a job where his salary would come from, you guessed it, a government check. So, as far as I can tell, J.D. Vance's logic here is that government checks are bad, and that's why you should vote for him to collect a government check. Did I get that right? Oh, and if JD really wants to talk about jobs, then we should probably talk about the fact that the guy was an investment banker who, in 2020, raised $93 million for his firm. And yet, that's the guy who's going to be a populist for the little guy? Kind of like how Donald Trump was a populist for the little guy, right? And yet, when he took office, his sole legislative achievement was a tax cut for millionaires and billionaires. And then he dangled the carrot in front of his supporters, saying that if the Republicans won midterms, they'd finally pass a middle-class tax cut. Weird how they never bothered to do that when they had full control of government, even though they did find a way to pass one for the ultra-wealthy. But hey, populism or something. So if you think that yet another millionaire is going to somehow mean that the forgotten Americans who comprise the Republican base are going to be taken care of, open your eyes. They had the opportunity to show you that they cared about you, and they blew you off. All Trump has done is sell you sneakers and Bibles and NFTs and trading cards and hats. He summoned you to the Capitol and got 1,000 of you indicted. He lied about COVID and left a disproportionate number of Americans living in red states dead because they listened to him. The guy is a fraud. In fact, he's such a fraud that J.D. Vance himself admitted as much just a few years back when his political future wasn't dependent upon kissing the ring.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like you said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
So as a conservative who thinks that Trump does not have the answers and isn't qualified to be president, what are you going to do this election, if you don't mind saying?
My current plan is to vote either third party or, as I joke to my wife, I might write in my dog because that's about as good as it seems. But, you know, I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. Ultimately, I think I'll probably vote third party. I might vote for this new guy who I really like, Evan McMullin, who I actually met the other day. But I think that I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
He's leading our political discourse to a very negative place. If Trump is elected president, he has to be a much different president than he was a candidate. As a candidate, he was fundamentally divisive.
There's this message in 2016, but I'm not surprised by Trump's rise, and I think the entire party has only itself to blame. We are, whether we like it or not, the party of lower income, lower education white people, and I've been saying for a long time that we need to offer those people something, and hell, maybe even expand our appeal to working class black people in the process, or a demagogue would. We are now at that point. Trump is the fruit of the party's collective neglect. I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler. How's that for discouraging? So yeah, if the complete and utter lack of any electoral benefit conferred by J.D. Vance wasn't enough, the baggage of him straight up savaging Donald Trump on his biggest character flaws really is the icing on the cake. So Trump might have been feeling especially cocky when he first tapped JD as his VP, but since then, I'll bet the overwhelming sentiment here is little more than regret. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.